Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I go any further, let me go through the disclosures. General disclosure. All Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure. Trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. And as a reminder, my presentation and the Options with Doug channel in Bookmap Discord is very focused. And the focus is options, order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first step is planning, and I use positional analysis for my planning to help me develop a thesis for the day regarding the trading range, expected volatility, and directional bias. And positional analysis is looking at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and then how those positions change from day to day. And I think this provides a significant edge over traditional forms of analysis such as technical analysis and fundamental analysis. And it can certainly be combined with those as well. But this is primarily how I look at the market. And the second step in my process is execution. That happens when the market opens and I'm looking at real-time order flow in Bookmap and market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and to find setups. And finally, on topic, questions and comments are welcome. And I will be watching Bookmap Discord, the Options with Doug channel, as well as YouTube for questions and comments. So again, questions and comments are welcome. All right, let's go ahead and get started now. And my agenda today, what I want to talk about is first of all upcoming news items for the week, and then go over position analysis, and then finally talk about some setups. And all right, so first of all, news. And there's not really much significant news, economic data coming out this week. So this is the daily FX website showing the economic calendar for the United States for the next 7 days. So tomorrow there's, according to this, not much of anything, well, except for the pending home sales at 10 a.m. I don't know how much of a market mover that will be. And then on the 29th, that's Thursday, the jobless claims. And then on Friday, there is some PMI data that comes out at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. So that's very light news week, especially compared to the last couple of weeks. All right, so let's get started with position analysis now. And let's take a look at this is the S&P 500 futures. And I see a question in Bookmap Discord. Is there something wrong with audio? And can anybody else hear me? Okay, I'm getting an indication that audio is good on Discord. Thank you. Thank you, Moonwalker, Frosty, and Unilink. Let me just check on YouTube. And Mike says, I can hear. Roomba says yes. Okay, so I think my audio is good. Okay, so this is really interesting. I don't know, can anybody identify what's going on now? Just a quick question. So let me go over what I'm looking at on the chart here. So this is the S&P 500 futures, ES, and Moonwalker's close, and Need to Know is close as well. There's a significance to that that strike at 38.35. Okay, so I'm looking at two columns here with levels. This first column, this SG column, is Spotgamma cloud notes, and these are updated daily from Spotgamma, and they're marking key levels based on either SPX levels or SPX and SPY combo levels. And so we see both SPX levels converted to ES prices. So Spotgamma is adding 25 points to ES to come up with an equivalent number. So the, for example here, this ES SPX 3850 is equivalent to ES 3875. And then this column, the C levels column, is my cloud notes, and I am marking the key SPY levels here. So this is the SPY 380 key gamma strike, and then also Spotgamma notes support and resistance levels, and the AM Founders note, the note that comes out about 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And so, for example, these two levels were indicated as support. And so let's take a look at some important information here. First of all, this 380 level, SPY 380 level, acted as support this morning. And that was a great setup that I'll go on, go into more detail, talk about it in just a moment or two. So the setup was that traders were taking positive delta positions as price was dropping down to this 380 level, and that's a classic hero divergence setup. So the other significant thing here is this 38.35 level is the call strike of the JP Morgan collar, and it is just acting as a magnet today. So price was down below that level and it went back up. Price got above the level, close to the 38.50 level, again that's SPX, and moved back down. And price has been gravitating up and down around that level ever since then, and we'll take a look at that in just a minute, in more detail on why that is happening in just a minute. So again, that is that's very important information, and this expires on Friday on 12:30. This is the call strike in the JP Morgan collar, and JP Morgan is short that strike. So that means that market makers are long that strike. So they bought the calls that JP Morgan was selling. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the expected range for the week. And there are several ways of looking at that. And this is just a snippet of a comment from the AM Founders Note today, noting that they are expecting that the S&P 500, meaning the SPX, will close inside the 3,800 to 3,900 range. Again, this is SPX by the end of the week. You know, they're expecting the SPX to be bound within that range during the week, and the more complete analysis is included in the AM Founders Note, and I will leave that to Spotgamma subscribers for the complete analysis. And now let's go take a look at Thinkorswim now. And let's go back to SPX. Let's go to charts. So this is showing the, I'm going to zoom in on this. So this is showing the expected move for the week for SPX, and showing the lower edge of the expected move at around 37.72. So a little bit lower than the Spotgamma range, and the upper edge of the expected move at 39.18, so a little bit higher. And this is just based on the options market implied volatility and the price last Friday. And it is a one standard deviation, 68% chance that price will close within this range by Friday. So that is I'd say pretty much a confirmation of that 3,800 to 3,900 range. And one interesting thing is the let's go take a look at the Founders Note for today, and note that they were showing this 5-day range as a much wider range, 37.26 to 39.62. So that is really not in line with the other information. Okay, so let's quickly talk about shifts and levels. So the only shift, really the only shift in levels was this key gamma strike. Oops, I'm sorry. Clear that. The key gamma strike, or the absolute gamma strike for QQQ, dropped from 270 to 265. So otherwise, there were no shifts in these key levels. Actually, the SPY volatility trigger moved up 2 points, so that's kind of a minor move. Otherwise, the put wall, call wall, and key gamma strikes all remain the same as they were Friday for the S&P 500. And now let's go take a look at the S&P 500 charts. And we'll take a look at those levels. So first of all, SPX, and this shows there's the 3,800 put wall, and that is the level with the highest net negative gamma. And that, again, Spotgamma is looking for that level to act as support. And here's the call wall, and that is the level with the highest net positive gamma. And again, that's the short strike, the call in the JP Morgan collar. And then the 4,000 level is still the key gamma strike, or the absolute gamma strike, and that is the strike with the largest absolute gamma. And then SPY, starting with the 375, that's the put wall, and 380 is the key gamma strike. And 385 is shown there, 384 is the volatility trigger, and then 390 is the call wall. All right, let's take a look at a couple of other things. So I'm going to go back to Thinkorswim. And now let's take a look. Let's take a closer look at that 38.35 strike. So this is the December 30th expiration, and here is the open interest at the 38.35 strike. And this is on the call side of the options chain, and you can clearly see the that level of open interest dominates open interest at all the other strikes, both on the call side and on the put side. And one other thing to take a look at now is the gamma at that level. And one thing to keep in mind is gamma is highest at the money and at expiration. And this is a this is also included in the AM Founders Note, and they have shown this chart several times. And this is the gamma curve for the 38.35 call strike. And the thing to note here is how that curve changes, particularly with time. And this is the blue curve at an IV of 20, and let's just check what let's just check on the VIX to see. So that IV of 20 is pretty close. Right now VIX is trading at 2167, so 20 is close enough. So we'll compare the blue curve with the green curve. So this is from last week, showing that the point here is the influence of that strike is wider, further out in strikes, but not quite as strong as at 38.35 as it is now, closer to expiration at 5 days to expiration. Same volatility level, showing that now the influence at that strike is stronger, but it diminishes as price moves away from that strike. And also note the red line is close to the green line, and that just shows the effect of the change in implied volatility with a drop from 20 to 15. And for those who trade options, you may think of volatility as synthetic time. So this is showing kind of the same effect as a change in time, as an implied drop in implied volatility having the same effect as a change in time. Okay, so that is the I think this is just fascinating, and seeing it play out in the live market. Okay, so it'll be we'll keep an eye on it for the rest of the week and see how that works out. Both the magnet of the 3835 call and all that gamma, and also the 3800 to 3900 range. All right, let's take a look at some other data that I always look at, and that is gamma notional. And this is showing the market maker's position on the gamma curve. And in a negative gamma environment, this indicates that traders are long puts, market makers are short puts, and they have to sell futures as price drops to hedge their delta exposure. And just the opposite, they can buy back those short futures as price rises. So they're trading in the direction of price, and that tends to increase volatility, and that's typical of a negative gamma environment. And one thing to note is that this negative gamma has shifted slightly more positive or less negative than last week. So gamma notional for SPX shifted from minus 537 on Friday, and I compare morning to morning. So on Friday morning, SPX gamma notional was minus 537, and today it is minus 339, so a little bit less negative. And SPY shifted from minus 1688 on Friday to minus 1552 today. So still pretty significantly negative, especially for SPY. And let's take a look at the Vanna charts now. And what this is showing is how market makers' delta notional or delta exposure changes with changes in price, implied volatility, and time. And you can interpret this just by drawing a line that makes sense through this curve. And it's usually pretty closely parallel to this black line. And this is showing, the green line is showing how market makers' delta exposure changes with changes in price and implied volatility. And that's the Vanna effect. And again, this is confirming the negative gamma that was shown in the founder's note, the data in the founder's note, indicating that market makers' delta exposure increases as price drops, and they have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure, and they can buy back those futures as price increases. And the black line shows how their delta exposure changes as time passes, and that's the charm effect. And we can look back and see that how that has shifted from Thursday to Friday to today. So just a slight shift from Friday to today. And we can look at SPY also. So that's just confirming and the gamma notional, negative gamma notional, and showing it in a visual form. Okay, let's take a look at some setups here. And the first setup, well, first of all, let's take a look at this is my key gamma strike spreadsheet, and this is something that I do every morning in my planning, and I look at all the stocks on my watch list. I go to Equity Hub and Spotgamma and take a look at the key gamma strike for each of the stocks in my watch list, and I look at how those levels have changed from the previous day. So this column on the far right is the previous gamma strike from the previous day, key gamma strike, and then this current key gamma strike is the key gamma strike for today. And then I color code them, and red indicates that the level dropped from the prior day, and red indicates that the level, or green indicates that the price increased from the previous day, and red indicates that the level dropped from the previous day. So a couple things of note here is the drop in Moderna, and that's one of the setups that I want to take a look at, and also the drop here in QQQ. I talked about that before, the shifts in the index levels. And then Tesla continues to drop, and it has just been relentless on the downside. So we'll take a look at all those setups, all those instruments and setups. All right. And I post this every day. This is my Spotgamma Hero watch list. And I'm going to open up this. I post this in Bookmap Discord. And let me just check for questions. And Mike asked, can I change the color of my pointer? Yeah, I'll look into that. I need to make my pointer bigger or figure out how to make that easier to see. And that's why I'm using the pen tool so much to like put a rectangle or an arrow around what I'm talking about. And oh boy asks, how's the JP Morgan collar level known? And I think that's pretty well published. I get my information primarily from Spotgamma, and Spotgamma, Brent Kajuba has talked about it for quite a while now. So you could probably just Google JP Morgan collar and find the information. And Anthony asks, can I share a link to my Bookmap cloud notes? And well, I have two sets of cloud notes, and the answer is no. The first from Spotgamma are available to Spotgamma subscribers, and the second set is my own, and that's just something that I keep on a spreadsheet on my local computer. So I encourage you, if you think this is useful, first of all, to if you're not already a Spotgamma subscriber, you can give them a try. They offer a free trial, and then I use the Price Lines add-on from the Bookmap marketplace, and you can create your own You can create your own cloud notes without that price lines add-on. I use it because it draws lines at my levels. So, if you're a Bookmap subscriber, you can, if you want to use your own cloud notes, just search for that in the knowledge base, and it'll show you how to make your own cloud notes. So this is something, this list of stocks here is my Spotgamma Hero watch list, and I sort it by weakest to strongest or strongest to weakest, depending on my bias for the day. And then I post that in Bookmap Discord. So today I sorted it from weakest signal to strongest signal, and what this is showing is this right here, this hero signal is showing the current signal in relation to the last 30 days, and that's shown by this light gray slider area, and also the last 5 days, and that's the colored section. So right now, for example, the hero signal for NVIDIA is the weakest that it has been in the last 30 days and weaker than it has been in the last 5 days. So we'll go through I want to go through the S&P 500 first, and then we'll go through the rest of the stocks in this order. So again, if you're on YouTube and not seeing this, I encourage you to join Bookmap Discord. It's free and open to all, and this is where I post things like this, as well as trade analysis and other things that I'm maybe seeing during the day. Okay, and one other interesting thing that I want to point out is this is my watch list in my trading platform, and I ranked it by the net change. And interesting to take note of here is this list pretty much closely corresponds with the list that I posted earlier of the weakest to strongest hero signals. So Moderna was definitely on that list, NVIDIA, and Tesla was actually at the other end of the list, but it was pretty weak as well. And again, I've talked about that before, that Tesla has been weak for so long that a strong hero signal, you just have to take that into context, that it may be stronger than it has been in the last 30 days or 5 days, but it still could be weak because Tesla has been so weak. So just an interesting note here. All right, so let's go take a look at some setups now. And the first thing that I want to take a look at is SPY, and ES is going to be the same. And I'm going to zoom in here. It's a little bit too much. Okay, and what I want to talk about, I should have opened it up before I zoomed in. All right, so this is the full screen view, and the thing that I want to talk about is this divergence setup. And this is the purple line is the hero signal, and this is the total signal showing calls and puts. And this is showing that as price was dropping remember, down towards that 380 level, which was expected to act as support. So as price dropped and started, as price dropped to a certain level, traders started taking positive delta positions as price continued to drop. And that had a lead effect, and then price, once it finally dropped to that 380 level, began to move higher. And let's just take a look and see. Let's separate puts and calls here. Oops. Clear this out. So this shows that traders were buying calls. And that's shown by this orange line here. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap now. So there's ES, and let's just go take a look at SPY. And here's the setup this morning. So there's the reversal at the 380 level, again, as traders were buying calls. So when you see that in Hero, then you want to start looking at Bookmap, look for a level of a potential reversal, and the 380 key gamma strike was that level. And then just look for the confirmation of Bookmap of the reversal, and I believe this is looks like kind of an inverse head and shoulders pattern, and price reverses higher, makes a higher low here, and then there are a couple of liquidity targets up above, and price never made it up to that level. And need to know, ask about the Hero chart for SPY, and no, I did not set that to the 30-minute time frame. I zoomed in on the morning session, so I was really looking at the first hour, looking at this price, maybe hour and 15 minutes. So there was really no reason to set it down to a shorter rolling window. Now, if I was going to trade this afternoon, yes, I would set the rolling window down to 30 minutes. But when I'm looking in the morning, I just leave it to the default 1-day settings. And that's what I was showing. So there's the setup in SPY. Again, traders taking positive delta positions, primarily buying calls, looking for the reverse level at the 380 key gamma strike. And then price makes a higher low, and there's your, if you didn't enter here, there's your entry there. And again, looking at these price targets above. So there's the setup in SPY, and then the next one was, now we'll start at the top of the list, and the next one was NVIDIA. this was a great setup this morning for fast traders. Let's go take a look at NVIDIA. Now I've got these sorted in alphabetical order, and I'm going to go open this up. I still have puts and calls transactions separated here. And here, it's pretty clear. The blue line, which is indicates traders are buying puts this morning, was dropping and price was falling. And again, this was a pretty fast move down. Let's go back and take a look at Bookmap now. Let's just zoom in on this setup for the morning. And here the target was the 145 put wall. And that is shown here. And it initially acted as support, and now it looks like prices continues to drop. So there's the 145 put wall. Quick drop down to that level, a reversal higher, 3 points, and then price continued lower to the put wall again. Let's just go back. So need to know, ask, hero cross the price. I don't look at crosses. The leading indicator was that hero was rising before SPY started to rise. So that was indicating that, again, traders were taking positive delta positions. And as we saw, traders were buying calls. And that means that market makers are selling calls, and they have to buy SPY, or most likely in this case buy ES, to hedge their delta exposure. So ES, SPX, and SPY are all just versions of the same product. So they move together. So sometimes there's a lag effect, especially in SPY. So it is very good to look for divergent setups in SPY. They occur more frequently in SPY than other stocks. So again, the steps: first of all, you recognize the divergence in hero. Then you look at Bookmap for a potential reversal level. You would be looking for a key gamma level and also liquidity. So a combination of key gamma level, and that would be at a round number level, and also liquidity at that level. And so 380 was the natural reversal point. And one other thing to note is, let's just go to I'm going to go look at the founder's note again. And note here, key support and resistance strikes are given for SPY, and 380 is one of those levels. All right, so we're looking, I hope that answered your question. So again, look at the divergence, look for a reversal level, expect market makers at some point to have to start to buy stock, buy futures to hedge their delta exposure, and then price reverses at that level as expected and moves up towards the targets that you see in Bookmap. So here for NVIDIA, we see that traders are buying puts, market makers are selling the puts, and they have to sell stock, NVIDIA stock, to hedge their delta exposure. So there was the morning setup, and then this afternoon setup. And let's take a look at, let's go back to Hero now, and I'm going to zoom all the way out. And you see that traders are just continuing to buy puts. So we look at the this dollar weighted delta minus 42 versus minus 3.8 for calls. So puts are clearly driving here, and you can just see that from the graph. And this is the 1 day rolling window. I have not tightened that to a shorter look back period. All right, let's take a look at QQQ now. Just want to take a quick look at that. It was on the list. And this morning there was a very strong correlation between options trades and price action in QQQ. And the next one that I wanted to take a look at that was a good setup was Apple. Let's zoom in on the morning. And this is showing a very strong correlation between options trades and price action, especially in the morning. And let's take a look at Bookmap now. And here was the setup from this morning. Just this quick drop down to 129. And this one thing that I really like about stock trading is the liquidity targets are just very clear. Price seeks liquidity, and the first target, if you got the reversal at the 131 hedge wall, was the 130 put wall, and then liquidity down at 129.50 and at 129, and then on further on down at 128. All right, the next stock that I want to take a look at is Moderna. And let me check on questions in YouTube. Let's see, did Napper 12 asked, did QQQ gamma level shifting down add conviction to the Tesla bearish thesis, or I would say probably vice versa. So Tesla used to be a larger component of QQQ. Now it's smaller, but it is still extremely volatile. So it has a strong influence on price action in QQQ. So taking a look at Moderna here, and I marked these in the morning, and now they're not really that visible. Moderna has continued to drop. So let's take a look at a couple things. And first of all, this looks a lot like Friday. So what it looks like to me is Moderna was knocked out at the open and just can't get up off the mat. And on Friday, it kind of chopped around at the same level once it dropped quickly. And today now it's continuing lower. And let's go take a look at Hero now. And this is for Moderna, and this shows the extremely close correlation between options trades and price action. And at least in the morning, both puts and calls were driving price action. So that was the morning session, that initial drop, showing that traders were both selling calls and buying puts and driving price action. Then they have continued to sell calls. Which makes sense in a stock like Moderna. It's a higher volatility stock. So let's go take a look at, let's go back in the, look at my list here. And remember, Moderna was one of the stocks with a drop in the key gamma strike. So we looked at QQQ briefly, and there were better setups. That's why I skipped over that pretty quickly. But here's Moderna with the drop in the key gamma strike. And you know, if you're building a case for a short in Moderna, you could also look at, in your preparation planning, look at Equity Hub here. And we'll do the same thing for Tesla in just a moment. And it looks like all other, the key delta strike dropped, and then the so the key delta strike dropped, and the key gamma strike dropped. So there was one clue, and then the next was the weak hero signal. And then finally confirming that with Spotgamma Hero and price action in Bookmap. All right, let's take a look at Tesla now and kind of go through the same steps. And again, like many stocks, the price targets, this is liquidity orders, that passive orders that come in the order book at 9:30 at the cash open, and stacked up here at 190, 185, and 180. So that gives you a good indication of where price is likely to go. All right, now let's take a look at Tesla. Okay, and notice Tesla has traded down to the lower edge, the expected move for the week. That's shown here, and then is chopping around that level. Notice this is the session range volume profile, and notice the liquidity at that level, and also at the 115 level where Tesla spent some time. And Ancient the architect asks, at open, is it safe to buy puts to target high liquidity areas? And I would confirm that with a hero signal and price action, and I'm confirming that with Bookmap. So, like I said, I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning. So, whatever I'm looking at, if I have a bearish thesis, then I would always confirm my thesis with both order flow and market maker hedging flow at Bookmap and at Spotgamma Hero. And Apple has high liquidity. We'll take a at 125. Is it safe to target that area? Again, I would confirm that with order flow and market maker hedging flow. But if you are bearish, then if there is high liquidity at that area, that's most likely a good target. So let's focus on Tesla now, and go back to Hero first. We're still on Moderna. Let's go to Tesla. And just briefly take a look. Notice that Tesla was on the strong end of this list in the morning. But now it has shifted to the to a weak signal as price has continued to fall. And recall the Tesla was on this list with falling key gamma strikes, and notice here the two red. So 130 was a decrease from the previous day, and then 120 was another drop today. So that's all bearish. And let's take a look at Equity Hub here. Take a look at Tesla. And this shows we'll just take a look at the key gamma strike. Has been falling for the last 5 days. From the 20th, a week ago, falling from 150 down to 120. And quickly we can look at the other levels, particularly the put wall, also dropping. So all bearish for Tesla in our planning, and now that's shown with the hero signal. And let's take a look at hero. And in the morning, both calls and puts were driving price action. And it continues to be both. Let's go back to Bookmap. It's not really a gamma level target, but plenty of liquidity targets at the round number levels, and then also that lower edge of the expected move. And let me take a look at questions. And need to know also ask one clarification on the hero chart. The blue line on the hero chart on SPY pointing down has a negative value, and the negative value just means there are puts. No, that's not correct. The negative value indicates that it is a negative delta position, and that could be that traders are buying puts or selling calls. Both are negative delta, and that is shown in a dollar terms. So that negative number again is shown in dollar terms, somehow corrected for delta. I'd have to go back and look at the exact definition, but that is a just assume that's negative delta. So negative delta is buying puts and or selling calls. And trader HE asks, what would I look for here? So let's take a look. So if if you're looking for a break of this 112 to 113 range, then 110 is the natural liquidity target. And let's take a look at Hero now. And I'm going to get a little bit closer here. Let's take a look at a 30-minute rolling window. So this will be more sensitive to trades in the last 30 minutes. And here Trader HE, I don't have much clarity. If I were looking for price to continue down to that 110 target, I would look for the hero signal to turn down first. And on YouTube, the Architect, yes, you're welcome. Go back to Discord. Okay. So Trader HE, I would, if I were looking to trade Tesla, I would just keep an eye on it, keep an eye on Hero, and see what happens. But I don't have any clarity here. I would certainly, I just don't know. It's hard to say. Let's go back to Bookmap. Okay, my time is up, and I think I've answered all your questions. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks again. Bye.